Did you know? Independence did not bring peace to all of Zimbabwe, and between 1980 and 1987, tens of thousands of Zimbabweans were caught up in a conflict that is rarely covered in history books. Well, this period would later lead to Unity Day, yet the story of how and why is far more complex than most people realize. This week in Zimbabwean history, we travel back to the day the Unity Accord was signed, December 22nd, 1987, and try to unpack the trauma and the truth that led the country there. Now, to understand why the Unity Accord was such a monumental shift, we have to talk about the dark years that preceded it. After independence in 1980, the joy of the new nation was quickly overshadowed by a power struggle. There were deep-seated tensions between the two main liberation movements, ZANU, led by Robert Mugabe, and PF-ZAPU, led by Joshua Nkomo. Furthermore, the two liberation armies, the Zimbabwe People's Revolutionary Army ZIPRA, affiliated to ZAPU, and the Zimbabwe African National Liberation Army ZANLA, affiliated to ZANU, were being integrated into one army, but trust was thin. The thin trust would be shattered in 1982 after a discovery of an arms cache in Matabeleland led to Nkomo's dismissal from his post as Minister of Home Affairs. This then sparked a breakdown in security and led to the emergence of dissidents, armed groups opposed to the government. In response, the government deployed the 5th Brigade, a North Korean-trained, specialized army unit, into the Matabeleland and Midlands provinces, and this would mark a painful period in Zimbabwean history. Gukurahundi, a Shona term that loosely translates to the early rains that sweep away the chaff before the summer begins. Gukurahundi was marked by intense suffering, especially amongst the Ndebele populations, and estimates have said that at least 20,000 people lost their lives during the period between 1982 and 1987. The modus operandi targeted at the dissidents included public executions, violent torture and reprisals, forced disappearances, and the establishment of re-education camps. And the target audience was mostly military-aged Ndebele men from the Matabeleland and Midlands provinces, and those who lost their lives were buried in mass graves. The period had ceased to be just a political disagreement. It had become a humanitarian crisis, threatening to tear the new country. By 1986, the international community had turned its eye on Zimbabwe and was threatening the lockdown of financial aid to the country, while the Ndebele people were reeling from trauma, fear, and injustice. Mugabe and Nkomo realized that the military approach was only deepening the wounds and the nation was hemorrhaging. Then the negotiations began. They were long and difficult, but by 22 December 1987, the two leaders had come to a conclusion on the way forward, and they signed the Unity Treaty. Nkomo, who in an earlier letter to Mugabe, which dated back to 1983, was pro-unity, and he had noted that this is the time and opportunity to rebuild trust, find the solution to our problems, and defend the country as a united people. As such, he valued national stability over political rivalry, and by signing the Unity Accord, the Gukurahundi was effectively ended, and a slow process towards reintegrating the country began. Today, the legacy of the Unity Accord remains complex. While it ended the violence, many feel the process of national healing is unfinished. Gukurahundi victims and victims' families continue to advocate for truth, for justice, and for an enabling environment that allows them to address long-standing issues such as birth certificates for descendants and proper reburials. And today, As we celebrate Unity Day again, unity looks different. It lies in the country's 16 official languages. It lies in how people can come together and band together during tough times. And it lies in every Zimbabwean's desire to have economic, social, and political inclusion. As we round up this week, how do you think Zimbabwe can better honor the spirit of unity? Is it through more dialogue, more education on what has happened in the past, or is it through economic empowerment for all regions? And this brings us to the end of this week in Zimbabwean history. Please be sure to let me know of other interesting historical and cultural issues regarding Zimbabwe that are not often talked about. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share with others. But in the meantime, do take care until the next one. Bye.